I need to know the buzz. You could feel it through the television, but take me inside Bell Center in Montreal because that had to be off the charts.
Oh my goodness, I'm in town in Boston right now hearing people talk about it. It's like unanimously people are saying that's the best event they've been to as a fan, and even the players are saying it's one of the best games they've ever played in. So can't get much better than that, can you?
No, the players were looking forward to it for a long time. The Civ Report is the Substack. You got to go get that. Sara not only writes about hockey, but life as well. So then, of course, they drop the puck, and we get two Tkachuks and a JT Miller fight in 9 seconds of game action. Did anybody what were the comments on press row for when we saw this?
Just kind of, oh my God, the Bash brothers, right? You got Brady and Matt.
Right.
And of course, JT Miller getting in the mix. I think it's hilarious that they had a group chat. They planned that out and they didn't tell anybody.
That is just incredible. How did that permeate? How did that sit with everybody? Everybody was cool with it except maybe the coaches involved. Paul Maurice might not have been happy about it.
Yes, I think we were talking to Jacob Slavin yesterday, and he was like, they didn't tell the Lady Bing winner about that one. It's like everybody maybe thought it might happen, but to actually have it planned out and executed like that, it was just kind of like, all right, best and best hockey's back. Canada USA for the first time in a decade. Like, this is what it really means.
Sara Civian is joining us here. She's in Boston. Now it's a home game for her, but was in Montreal on Saturday. But the atmosphere was good for Finland, Sweden, too, right?
It is. It's just kind of like, oh, my gosh, we got to do this more often. That's kind of what the coaches are saying. That's their takeaway. Like, every team, you cannot disrespect. Obviously, Sweden's on the board, and anything could still happen today. There's implications where, obviously, the U.S. has punched their ticket to the championship game, but there's still a few ways this could go. So it's kind of like, I know Finland's been depleted with their defense, but it's still some of the best hockey players in the world.
Yeah, and they did manage to get a win, and if they happen to win in regulation today against Canada, it's Finland and the United States in the championship match, and that would be great, except that Rod Brind'amour wouldn't get Sebastian Aho and Mikko Rantanen back probably until Sunday. But look, those are first world problems. I didn't realize there was a Swedish choir of Montreal. I found that out on Saturday afternoon. And I know Canada and Finland go at 1 o'clock today, so I want to let you get to what you need to do in a second. Were you surprised going in? Because I was. I talked about it with John Forsland and Trip Tracy and people you know, and we thought this would be a lot more all-star game-ish, not quite all-star game level lack of intensity and hit and giggle, but I didn't think it would have the physicality. But from game one, I thought this has been real hockey.
I'm going to tell you, Sidney Crosby cares about it. We all care about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In sports, we assign meaning to what we want to assign meaning to. And I think Sidney Crosby decided, I'm going to play. And everybody kind of got in line. Like, all right, I'm going to care about this. And now it's also implications for the Olympics in a few years. Like, people are looking at this saying, okay, who's going to be on U.S.'s roster come the Olympics? And, like, they're starting to formulate coaches and teams and things of that nature. So it does have implications beyond this mini tournament.
It does, by the way. It's a year from now. We're going to be in Italy for the Olympics in Milan. Although I guess there was some talk that the hockey could be in the United States. I don't know. There's all sorts of weird permeations of this or whatever. I just made up a word. That's beautiful on statewide radio. Sara Civian is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. The Tkachuk brothers certainly will be on that team, but I want to ask, you already mentioned Jacob Slavin.
Yeah.
Jacob Slavin looked to me like he put on a Jacob Slavin masterclass on Saturday night, led the United States blue line in ice time, probably deflections with his stick. He was a +3. He did everything. He even delivered a check to Seth Jarvis, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, gotta love it. Jacob Slavin really is the difference between the U.S. and every other team. If you think about it, like the strength of U.S.'s defense starts with Jacob Slavin, and that's the strength of the entire team. I mean, obviously, Connor Hellebuyck, you can't hate him.
Right.
But Slavin, the shutdown with him and Brock Faber has been one of the best parts of this entire tournament.
He was tremendous, and it's funny. I get it. We give the stars of the game always go to the goal scorer, so I get Jake Gensel. He had the goal that tied it. He had the empty net goal. For my money, Slavin was the best player. I thought Dylan Larkin was awesome in the game, and the fact that a lot of American players and Canadian players too, by the way, have accepted roles. It's been amazing. We know there's tiers within stars, right? There's the McDavids and the McKinnons, those stars, and then there's the other stars, and everybody seems to have accepted where they get slotted.
That's a great point, and kind of how it takes from me, like watching Canada. I think McKinnon's trying too hard to be Nathan McKinnon, where you have the U.S. players kind of, all right, I'm Brad Marchand's on Canada, but he's a good example of a role player too. But I think McKinnon's doing a little too much. You got Canada stars thinking they might have to do a little too much, where you got nothing. Our good Americans, but I do think that's been a recipe for success.
All right. Well, final thing, and this is sort of meant as a joke. I think I'm saying that not for you, but for everybody else. Without the booing of the U.S. national anthem, where will the Americans find motivation on Thursday?
Oh, I'm sure it'll.
I apologize for everybody.
It'll come up. We'll find something to boo. There's going to be something to boo, and everybody will boo it. So perfect. The boos will be out.
Oh yeah. My advice would be, if it's Canada, cheer heavily for "O Canada," so as to not give the Canadians any added motivation to win a hockey game.
That's what it's all about.
Unbelievable. Sara Civian, the Civ Report is the Substack. I thank you so much. Enjoy the game today, and I will talk to you very soon.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Unbelievable game. Unbelievable atmosphere. You could feel it. 22,000 people at Bell Center. Just awesome. It's going to be great. Now, tonight won't have the same intensity. The United States is already booked to Thursday. But we all want USA-Canada Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
We all want it.
Who doesn't?
So, but Saturday night, man, was box office.
Oh, my gosh. It was so good.
Absolute box office. Yes, it was tremendous. And it didn't need the fights, but the fights set the tone for how the game was going to be played, because that was a very physical first period. Mm-hmm. Did not expect that at all.